My name is Blakk Rasta, and I want to say thank you so much. Remember, this is the segment that helps to build the country, the continent, and our people. We don't take any interest in criticizing people, but if we must criticize, we only criticize only to build and not to destroy. My brother, my sister, this is where all the action is, and it starts now. I'm taking my very first reading from Peace FM Online. It's one credible news portal right here in Ghana, and it says, Parliament approved allowances for presidential spouses. And this attributed to Akuffo Nkrumah, who's been quiet all this while. Now he's begun to speak again. And he's the information minister. I read first two paragraphs. It says, the president, Nana Addo Akuffo Addo, does not approve salaries and benefits for the executive, and by extension for the first lady and wife of the vice president. The minister of information, Mr. Kojo Akuffo Nkrumah, has said. He has therefore described as misleading information, making the rounds that President Akuffo Addo has had given approval for Mrs. Rebecca Akuffo Addo and Mrs. Samira Baumia to receive same salaries as cabinet ministers. Whilst confirming that there had been an increment in allowances for the spouses of the president and the vice president, Mr. Akuffo Nkrumah emphasized that that was an approval given by the 7th Parliament. The president does approve salaries and benefits for the executive. Under Article 71, the First Lady and Second Lady are not office holders, so no one can determine their benefits under that article. However, a committee only recommended that an arrangement for the spouses be made formal, and that received approval from Parliament, he indicated. My brother, my sister, if I read further, it says Mr. Akuffo Nkrumah explained that an arrangement that was introduced by former President John Akuffo during the start of his presidency in 2000 had seen spouses of presidents and vice presidents since then enjoy allowances, though there was no formal documentation to support that. My brother, my sister, what this story is saying is very simple. Our president, Nana Akuffo Addo, and the people of Ghana, aided by Parliament, decided that the wife of the president must receive salaries. And that the wife of the vice president must also receive allowances. My brother, my sister, now this is made possible by the fact that this is the president, this is the vice president, their wives, by virtue of the fact that these women are married to the president and the vice president, they must be given money. Let us think about this, my brother, my sister. According to the story published on Peace FM Online, this has been going on from 2000, even though not officially documented. Listen to the English. This has been going on for the past 21 years, even though it was never officially documented. Where was the money from? Is it from the taxpayers' coffers? Or is it from the private pockets of the president and the vice president? Certainly no. My brother, my sister, now they have the effrontery, they have the disrespect to carry this nonsense all the way to Parliament, my brother, my sister. And we are hearing that parliamentarians representing us, according to Akuffo Nkrumah, have agreed that yes, the wives of the president and the vice president should have allowances. And those allowances have even been increased. How often or how regular are these allowances? Are they monthly, weekly, daily, weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly, yearly? What is it? Do we not have the right to know as taxpayers? Especially that this money is not coming from the private pockets of these guys. My brother, my sister, let's get more serious. Listen, Ghanaians. Now the president's wife is going to receive allowances. And news from the vineyard is that they are receiving the same salaries as ministers, cabinet ministers. My brother, my sister, what informed this decision? The president's wife is not part of the executive. The president's wife is not an office holder. The vice president's wife is not an office holder. Now, if you start giving allowances to the president and his vice president's wives, are you going to start giving allowances to ministers' wives too? Let's think about it. This country is becoming a comic country. Listen, president is busily running around borrowing money that he can't pay in his lifetime. He is flying so exorbitantly. Mr. President is running helter-skelter, disgracing this country, sleeping unprovoked. At the end of the day, he has the effrontery, he has the disrespect to tell Parliament, you see, deal with our wives, give them allowances. And we are hearing that these allowances are even equivalent to the minister's salary. What do you think? Is this not a slap in the face of the taxpayer? Children are going to school, wading through rivers. Children are learning under trees. Qatar and common cold will keep killing us day and night. Something that we should have dealt with at the snap of our fingers. Common sicknesses are killing us. We can't deal with that. But our salaries are being inflated every day. I'll tell you something. You see, dictators always behave like that. You will be shocked that their children are also receiving a certain kind of benefit. What is the president's wife doing to support this country grow? If she is that important in the growth of this country, why don't you give her an official office? My brother, my sister, think about this very carefully. Graduates are walking on the streets. They have no work to do. Money is doled out to people just because they are married to people in power. My brother, my sister, I'll tell you another thing. So if the vice president, who is a Muslim, decides to marry 4 wives, are all 4 wives going to receive allowances equivalent to the minister's salary? Now we are already hearing about one Ramatu Baumia who has been kicked aside to keep quiet forever. As to whether there is truly one Ramatu Baumia as the first or the second wife of the vice president, we cannot be too sure. And it is his religious right as a Muslim to marry up to about 4 if he wants. So he marries 4. All of them are going to receive the same salaries. What is their contribution to the development of this country? So at the time, my brother, my sister, if we have a vice president or even the president and the vice president and they both decide to marry 4, that means we have 8 people who are going to be on the taxpayers' money equivalent to the minister's salary. And remember, it is not once a year, it's monthly. What is their contribution? I have no problem if there is a certain kind of contribution. Oh, the vice president's wife's office is like this, and this is what the vice president wife does. All I can remember is when they are going on campaign, they go with their wives to also talk. After that, that's it. Ghanaians, what do you think about this? Let's all come together and reason it out. You have a country that is on the verge of collapse. You have a country, anytime it rains, everywhere floods. You have a country where hospitals, my brother, my sister, are not enough. Pregnant women are still giving birth on the bare floor. And much more. The president's wife is going to take the same salary as the cabinet minister, who is supposed to serve the public for 4 solid years. That is if they get there, go ahead for the 4 years. I don't see this to be wise. It is the president's duty to take care of his wife. Same way it is the duty of every man to take care of their wives. Let me ask one last question and I'll leave this. So if the president's wife is actively involved in another job, for instance, teaching, or maybe in the hospital working as a nurse or as a doctor, the vice president's wife is also actively involved in some other caboodle, what happens? They will still take the money and go and take the teaching salary to and add. I'm just asking questions. And I leave it here. You see, this country is beginning to be a country of comedians. President Akuffo brought it in 2000 and it was never officially documented. Was he stealing the money? How can you use my tax money without telling me that this is the amount I've used to pay my wife? And this is the amount of money from your tax that I've used to pay my vice president's wife monthly. What happens to all the energetic youth who are out there, finish school and they are still perambulating the streets with no job? Is it not a slap in their faces? By the fact that you are married to the president or the vice president, therefore, hook, line and sinker, enjoy a minister's salary. What a joke. What a joke. I leave it here. My brother, my sister, I'm going to tackle the next thing quickly.